This is Audible.
Audible Studios presents Come Closer. Written by Brenda Rothert. Performed by Kirsten Lee and Lee Samuels. Chapter 1. I think it's the silence that wakes me up. After 2 weeks of sleeping in the forest, being lulled awake every morning by calling birds, running streams, and leaves dancing in the breeze, the quiet in my cabin doesn't feel right. It's about time to get up anyway. I have to return to reality today. There were moments during the 14 days I just spent in the Montana forest when I considered not returning. I had everything I needed to get by in a pack on my back. I considered building myself a small shelter and becoming a true mountain man. I'd spend my days fishing, hunting, and climbing. It would be a life without worry. But my daydreams of escaping real life were interrupted every time by thoughts of my patients. I took an oath to do no harm, and I knew I couldn't uphold it and willfully leave people with serious mental illnesses. No, I'm not the only doctor who can treat them, but I'm one of the few willing to live in rural Montana and work at Hawthorne Hill Mental Hospital. Other than a small town a few miles away, this place is isolated from civilization. Not that you'd know it when you're on the property. Henry Hawthorne poured proceeds from his oil empire into this place back in the 1930s, and his estate provides for its upkeep. Even the cabin I live in as a staffer at Hawthorne is nicer than any place I've lived before. I cook the fish I catch on weekends in a gourmet kitchen and write up patient reports on a leather sofa in front of a giant stone fireplace in the great room. I walk into the bathroom and turn on the shower, then step in front of the sink while I wait for the water to get hot. Damn, I look grisly. The dark beard I grew while off work is almost an inch long, and my hair is wild and unwashed. I turn my face from side to side, considering keeping the beard. Maybe if it was trimmed and my hair was under control. No. With my 6'5" height and wide frame, I already intimidate most new patients when they meet me, and the nurses like to call me Dr. Lumberjack. They'd have a field day with the beard. I shave, shower, and dress in a flannel, jeans, and hiking boots, then make the quarter-mile walk uphill to the main Hawthorne building. I always walk to work unless there's snow on the ground, and on those days, I take a snowmobile. Hawthorne is an inpatient mental hospital, but it looks like a luxurious hunting lodge. It's a massive log structure with private patient rooms, a library, and a 2-story great room. It has 38 patient rooms, which are always full. This is where the well-off send their loved ones for mental help. Some patients here are short-term, and others live here for decades. When I walk through the back entrance and go into my office, I'm surrounded by the cedar log smell of Hawthorne Hill. Written reports are stacked on my desk. I'll go through them later. I'm anxious to round on patients now. I take my white coat from a hook by the door and put it on as I walk toward the medical wing. "Dr. Delgado, you're back." The female voice is eager and breathy. It has to be Sarah. "I am," I say, glancing over my shoulder. "How was your vacation?" "It was good." "We missed you." She licks her lips and takes a step closer to me. I don't mix business and pleasure by dating my coworkers, but if I did, Sarah would be all too willing to keep my bed warm. She makes no secret of it either. "So what's new here?" I ask. "How's Leonard?" Sarah arches her brows and shrugs. "It's hard to say. Dr. Tillman has him sedated." "Sedated? Why?" "He scared the life out of the new girl in housekeeping. Told her someone had opened fire in the dining room and killed everyone." "That's Leonard, though. He says things like that all the time." The new girl didn't know that. She called 911 and was hiding in a broom closet with Leonard for almost an hour until the cops found them. We had to evacuate and everything. I sigh heavily. I still don't see why Tillman sedated Leonard over that. This is a mental hospital, for Christ's sake. He just restrained him at first, but Leonard was a wreck. He just sobbed nonstop. He has a fear of being restrained. Didn't anyone tell Tillman? Sarah nods. It didn't help. You know how he is. Shit. I shake my head in disgust. That wouldn't have happened if I'd been here. You can't work 365 days a year, Dr. Delgado. Sarah gives me an admonishing look. Oh, and we filled Nicole's bed the day after she was discharged. Oh, yeah? Sarah and I walk toward the coffee maker while talking, and I pour myself a cup. The new patient's name is Allison. She's been here for 10 days and hasn't said a word, Sarah says, pouring herself a cup of coffee too. Catatonic? No, she was strangled, so her vocal cords may have been damaged. Or it could be shock. She witnessed her sister's murder. Oh, shit. That's terrible. Sarah's gaze is sympathetic. Wait till you read her report. Yeah, I think I'll go read it before I round so I'm ready to see her. How's she doing here so far? Sarah shrugs. Hard to say. Tillman has her sedated. I'm gritting my teeth so hard I feel them grinding. It's all I can do to stay professional right now. Tell him to find me before he leaves, please, I say to Sarah. Yes, Dr. Delgado. There's some stomp in my step as I walk back to my office. This is why I was hesitant to take 2 weeks off, because putting the care of my patients in someone else's hands is a hard thing to do. But it should have been safe to leave Brody Tillman in charge. He works under me 3 days a week and covers me on weekends and days off. He knows damn well how I want patients treated. When I get to my office, I close the door and sink down into my leather desk chair. I know I need to listen to Tillman before jumping his ass, but it'll be hard. And all I can do at this point is write him up and tell him I expect better next time. Dwelling on things that can't be undone is my Achilles heel. It's how I got into such a bad place that I needed 2 weeks away from here. I was about to drown my pain in a bottle of Jack, and with me, it never stops at just one. I worked too hard for my sobriety to risk losing it, so I had to get my ass to a place where I could reset my mind. The unfamiliar name on the file at the top of the pile on my desk catches my eye. Allison Cole. I open the folder, put on my reading glasses, and dig into the report on Hawthorne Hill's newest patient. Patient, Allison Cole. Age, 27. Sex, female. Residence, 427 Parkland Avenue, Apartment 2, Chicago. Summary. Cole was admitted to Hawthorne Hill on March 25, 2016 by her aunt, Margaret Cole. Margaret Cole reports her niece was in good health physically and mentally before March 16, 2016, when she witnessed the death of her sister, Ava Cole. According to police reports from the Chicago Police Department, Allison Cole was present at Ava Cole's apartment when armed assailants bound and gagged both women and cut Ava Cole's throat. Police have no suspects in the murder. Neighbors of Ava Cole reported to police sounds of a struggle in her apartment. There was no sign of forced entry. Police discovered Ava Cole's body upon their arrival. Allison Cole showed physical signs of strangulation. She was inconsolably upset, but would not respond to police questioning. Margaret Cole reports she picked Allison up from the police station and took her back to her home in Manhattan, where they stayed for 3 days. When Allison still hadn't spoken in that time, Margaret Cole took her to see her physician, Dr. Jill Warner, and psychiatrist, Dr. Lee Ching. Warner and Ching advised Margaret Cole that her niece may need time to recover from the trauma she witnessed. Margaret Cole said she was worried her niece may harm herself, and she was unable to watch her around the clock. She requested a referral to an inpatient facility from Warner. Warner called Hawthorne Hill administration on March 24, 2016, and received approval for referral. Hawthorne Hill staff assessed Allison Cole upon admission. She was physically well, though dehydrated. Dr. Brody Tillman prescribed IV hydration. Allison Cole pulled out her IV multiple times before being restrained. Update, March 27, 2016. Hawthorne Hill psychiatrist Dr. Marcia Heaton held a session with patient Cole. Cole did not respond to questions by Heaton. Update, April 1, 2016. Hawthorne Hill psychiatrist Dr. Marcia Heaton held a session with patient Cole. Cole did not respond to questions by Heaton. Update, April 2, 2016. Hawthorne Hill psychiatrist Dr. Marcia Heaton held a session with patient Cole. Cole did not respond to questions by Heaton. Update, April 5, 2016. Hawthorne Hill psychiatrist Dr. Marcia Heaton held a session with patient Cole. Cole did not respond to questions by Heaton. I close the file and exhale deeply. Heaton thinks she has a soft touch, but not so much. She graduated at the top of her medical school class, but I think she chose the wrong specialty. She expects constant, measurable improvement from patients because it makes her feel like a success. But some people here will never recover to the point of returning to society. I don't believe in pushing my patients. My job is to support them. They need a safe place, safe people to talk to if they want to, and control over as many things as we can safely give them control over. Allison Cole's story is still running through my mind on the walk to Leonard's room. I don't have a favorite patient, but if I did, what the hell, I do, and it's Leonard. He's a 61-year-old black man with a gray beard and a head full of conspiracy theories. But he's also sharp and observant, something many people don't notice because of his paranoia. When I see Leonard's arms and feet restrained to the safety bars on his bed, I sigh softly. I'd go several rounds with Tillman right now if he weren't such a pansy. The guy deserves to have the smug look wiped off his pretty face. Leonard's no threat to anyone. I walk out of his room and grab the chart hanging next to his door, noting my order for an immediate removal from sedation. I'll come by and see him later, when he's awake. I look in on a few other patients before arriving at Allison Cole's room. Like Leonard, she's bound to the bed with restraints, and she appears to be sleeping. She looks fragile. It's not just her petite frame, but also the shadows under her eyes. Her dark brown hair hangs loosely over her shoulders, its shine telling me it was washed recently. Our nursing aides are devoted to the patients. I noticed the difference in approach immediately when I came to Hawthorne Hill, after only working at big metropolitan hospitals. Not that the staff at large hospitals aren't devoted, because they are. But at Hawthorne, we know the patients well. We see them for days, months, even years on end. That may be why I have such a fondness for Leonard. I've been at Hawthorne for a little over a year, and he's been here since before I started. For me, the place wouldn't be the same without him. I take a final look at Allison and almost remove her restraints. How many fucking times have I told Tillman that restraining a sedated patient is overkill? But since I'm taking her off sedation, and she's pulled out her IV lines before, I leave her restrained. I mark her chart to stop administering the sedative, looking up from what I'm writing when I hear a howling sound. We're in rural Montana, but I know there's not a wolf on the loose in Hawthorne. The howl came from the pediatric wing, and it sounded just like Billy McGrath. Billy has multiple personalities, and some of them aren't human. I tuck my pen into the pocket of my white coat and head toward the howl.
Chapter 2. The scent of cedar is lulling me to go somewhere. I follow the sweet, clean smell, trying to open my eyes so I can figure out where I'm going. My eyelids are so heavy, though. I turn my head to the side, still trying to open my eyes. There's something I don't like about not being able to see what's happening around me, but I can't quite remember what it is. This sense of being underwater seems impossible to shake. Might as well just sink back into the dark, murky depths of the ocean inside my head. It's too hard to find the water's surface. Allison? The sound of the deep, unfamiliar male voice forces me out of my slumber. When I open my eyes, there's a tall man in a white coat, standing several feet from me. My heart flies into overdrive. I try to move away from him, but my hands hardly move. I'm tied to the sides of a bed. It comes back in an instant. I'm at Hawthorne Hill, the mental hospital in Montana that Aunt Maggie dumped me off at. But who is the dark-haired man in my room? You're safe, Allison, he says, putting his hands out in front of his chest to show me they're empty. Like that helps. This guy could kill me with one of his bear paw-sized hands wrapped behind his back. I jerk against the restraints, tears filling my eyes. I'm Daniel Delgado, he says, pointing to the name stitched onto his white coat. I'm a doctor. He gives me a second to process that before continuing. Listen, Allison, you were sedated, but we're bringing you out of the sedation now. You probably feel groggy and confused, but that's completely normal. I swallow and stop fighting against the restraints. Instead, I look over at one of my bound wrists and then up at the doctor. I'll take them off if you promise me you won't pull out your IV line. I meet his eyes, which are a warm caramel shade. There's no challenge in the way he holds my gaze, but I can tell he's studying me, assessing me, trying to figure out if I'm crazy just like everyone else here. Just give me a nod if we've got a deal, he says. It's a tough call. I don't want the IV line in my arm. I know why it's there, to run fluids, nutrients, and medicine into my body, to keep me alive and healthy. Alive and healthy are two things I don't want to be anymore. The flashbacks are merciless, and they never stop, even when I'm asleep. I can't escape my own head as long as I'm alive. But being tied to this bed is unbearable. The terror I feel at being unable to escape is enough to choke me. I'd agree to anything right now to be freed. I nod once, and Dr. Delgado leans down to unfasten the first restraint. I'm not a fan of restraints, he says as he works. I think they do more harm than good. But if you're putting yourself in danger, we may not have a choice. As soon as he gets the first restraint off, he lifts my wrist to examine it. His hand is twice the size of mine, but he has a gentle touch. There's a little redness from my brief struggle against the restraints, but Dr. Delgado seems to dismiss it. He sets my arm back on the mattress and walks around to the other side of the bed to free my other hand. I'm the general practitioner here at Hawthorne, he says. I'll come see you every day, prescribe meds when you need them, and treat any injuries or illnesses you may get. Dr. Heaton consults with me on her sessions with you, and we collaborate on any prescriptions or treatments for mental health. He seems more chill than Dr. Tillman, who got aggravated when I wouldn't answer his questions. That son of a bitch threatened to have me sedated several times, and apparently he went through with it. I see we've got a dry erase board there for you, Dr. Delgado says, nodding at my bedside table. Anything you want to ask me or tell me? I shake my head. The second restraint is removed, and I rub my wrist. If you have any problems at all, let me know. You can roam around the place during free hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I look over at the window, where the open curtains reveal a clear blue sky. Most people would call this a beautiful day, but not me. I can't find the beauty in a world with such ugliness, a place that would allow the brutal murder of the other half of my heart. Closing my eyes, I shut out the sunshine. Fuck sunshine. I want dark clouds, torrential downpours, destructive tornadoes. I've taken you off the sedative, but Allison, let me know if you're struggling with anything. Sadness, insomnia, whatever it is, I can prescribe you something to help. I'm sure you're still hurting from the loss of your sister. I'm very sorry about that. My throat tightens and burns. He's the first one to mention her, other than that bitch Dr. Heaton. And I don't like it. It hurts too much to hear anyone speak of her. It brings to the surface what's already horrifyingly real. I grab the bed covers, lie down and curl up, pulling the covers over my head. This doctor seems like a decent enough guy, but I can't listen to him anymore. I need to cry until my head pounds, so I can feel something, anything, other than the ache that's burned its way into my very soul. Chapter 3. How are you today, Allison? Dr. Heaton asks, her familiar tone making it seem like we're old friends. I stare out the window of her office, wondering if the weather outside is as nice as it looks. The sun is shining bright in a clear blue sky again, but it's April. In my hometown of Chicago, April can be a bitch. It's cold, rainy, and dreary. And I'm even farther north now. I bet it's chilly outside, the sun's rays just giving the illusion of warmth. You can talk to me, Heaton says for at least the 20th time since I've been here. Everything said in this room is confidential. I'm here to help you work through the grief I know you're feeling. I glance around her office. There are framed diplomas on the wood plank walls and bookshelves with books and picture frames, arranged just so. The photos show smiling people posing for the camera, all of them smiling so perfectly, they could be the paper photos that come in the picture frames when you first buy them. A fountain in the shape of a bunch of bamboo gurgles in a corner, and neatly trimmed bonsai trees line the ledge of the large window behind Heaton's desk. Even the box of tissues on the coffee table in front of me has been methodically placed. One corner of the square in front of me makes it a diamond shape. The top tissue is pulled up, its sides still neatly tucked inside. It looks like a tissue fountain, beautifully shaped into a parallel pattern. That's not the tissue box of a doctor whose patients feel comfortable crying. If the box were half empty, with little white specks of tissue dust dotting the coffee table, I'd at least feel like it was okay to use one. A smile quirks at my lips as I imagine whipping out a tissue or two. I'm picturing Heaton descending on the box right after me to tidy up the tissue fountain and brush away the little tissue flecks. Why are you smiling, Allison? The warmth in her tone tells me she thinks it has something to do with her. Do you see something and maybe you remember something happy? I sigh softly and look at the wall clock. I've got 35 minutes left in this hour-long session. I've been at Hawthorne for almost a month, and I never get to go more than 2 days without coming here for a session. One of my favorite games to play with myself during our sessions is Will She or Won't She? Sometimes Heaton gets so aggravated that she lets me leave early. Other times she digs in her heels and makes me stay the whole hour. I'm pretty sure she's tried every trick in her shrink bag, from just staring at me in silence for an entire hour, to offering to just cry with me, to jabbing at me in subtle ways, designed to get a reaction. Today is Monday, so I think she'll keep me the entire hour. She starts her weeks resigned to make me talk. We can't make progress this way. she says, crossing one leg over the other in the wingback chair she's sitting in across from me. I know there are thoughts and feelings happening inside of that head of yours, Allison. I just want to go back to my room and read the book I got from Hawthorne's library. It's the biography of a former prisoner of war, and I'm hooked. When I'm concerned about my patients, I take my work home with me. Heaton leans forward in her chair. And I read through your entire file again over the weekend. She pauses to let that sink in, like it's going to impress me. You and Ava were very close. Twins have a very special bond. You must miss her terribly, and feel like you have no one to talk to with her gone. I turn back to the window and see a big black bird flying across the expanse of sky. Even if it's cold outside, the breeze in its face has to feel downright glorious. The police still haven't made an arrest in Ava's case, you know. If you want to see her killer brought to justice, the best thing you can do is talk to the detectives assigned to the case. They can come here and I can help you do that. Any detail you recall from that night, no matter how small, may be the lead they've been searching for. There are more birds visible now, and I watch them flying over the forest in the distance. Do they live nearby, or are they just passing through? Okay, Allison, Heaton says, sighing softly. You can go. Just remember that my door is always open. All progress is good, no matter how slow. You're eating and drinking now, and that's progress we can celebrate. I give her a tight-lipped half-smile and get up from the couch. I'm eating and drinking because it's impossible not to. I can either do it myself, or they'll stick an IV in me. The CNA assigned to bring me to my session today, Terrence, is waiting for me in the hallway, smiling at something on his phone. Back to your room, Miss Allison? He asks, putting the phone in his pocket. Just like every time I leave Heaton's office, I lead the way to the wide stairway, walk up, and make my way to my room. I pour myself a big glass of water from the pitcher beside my bed, and then curl up in the chair in the corner of my room with my book, setting my water on the table beside mine. You can just push a call button if you need anything, Terrence says with a smile. I meet his eyes in acknowledgement, and he leaves the room. I'm blissfully alone, once again. It's just too hard to be inside my head, and I fear it always will be. I've finally found a way to escape into someone else's head. Books. As soon as I start reading, I feel like the bird I saw outside Heaton's window, careless and free.
Chapter 4. The cool, rainy April finally gives way to May. It's muddy, and there's still a chill in the air some days, but everyone knows the worst of the Montana weather is behind us now. Hawthorne Hill's stable opened back up for patient use today, and the dining room is buzzing with excitement from those who went riding for the first time since fall. You see that new mare? Leonard asks as he sits down across from me at one of several tables in the dining room. Yeah, she's a beauty. Bet we'll see some level 2s working up to level 1 just so they can ride her. He chuckles and puts his fork into the steaming chicken pot pie on his plate. I nod in agreement. Hawthorne's patients are classified into 3 different levels, and only level 1s get to do outdoor activities. Did you ride Thunder today? I ask him. Sure did. His wide smile says it all. Leonard loves that horse. Other than the stable master, Leonard and I are the only ones who can ride Thunder. He's a massive stallion who's a bully when he wants to be. So when are we going camping, Doc? You know I'm first on your list for this season. We can go this weekend. He smiles. That's what I'm talking about. His expression turns cloudy. Well, unless the phone lines have been tapped. I don't want no government types following us out there, you know? I think we'll be okay. You don't know what they're capable of, Doc. His eyes widen with fear. They're planning something. I know it. When Leonard starts to go down this path, I try to redirect his attention. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Are you hanging around for movie night after dinner? I ask him as I scoop up a bite of chicken pot pie. You know it. What about you? Wish I could, but I've got paperwork to catch up on. Hawthorne sends quarterly summaries about patients to their families, and I have to read and sign off on all of them. I could take them to my cabin, but I might as well just stay here. As soon as I'm done with dinner, I go into my office and close the door. I've been needing to get to these reports for several days, but I've been too busy. We have a new patient who was sent here after he had a break with reality and went on a shooting rampage. He was found mentally unfit for trial. Since he's a strapping guy with serious mental issues, I haven't wanted to leave him alone with any of the staff. A patient like him requires extra security. Some of the reports I read detail small victories. A patient who obsessively pulled out her own hair has cut back on the habit after taking up drawing. Another admitted he'd sent threatening letters to women, which he'd been denying for the entire year he's been here. I don't see much backsliding this quarter, which is good. But a strong majority of the patients remain the same as they've been every quarter I've read and signed off on these reports. Many of them are getting treatment that improves their quality of life, and I like being part of that. Some people are broken, but not many. I find that nearly everyone thrives when we focus on their strengths instead of their weaknesses. The final report in my pile is the shortest. Allison Cole has made progress. She's eating and drinking now, and spends her days reading in her room. Sometimes her nights, too. Dr. Heaton is critical of letting Allison escape into books, instead of helping her confront reality. But I tell Heaton in every weekly staff meeting that help is a two-way street. Until Allison is ready to face what happened, we can't make her do it. And we shouldn't. We still don't know if she's even physically able to talk. Her vocal cords may have been damaged by the strangulation. It would help if she'd use the dry erase board to tell us things, but she doesn't want to. Pain affects us in unique ways. I bury mine deep and seek outlets for it. Drinking was the worst of those outlets. Now I use work to avoid confronting past mistakes and the fallout I caused. It's 8:30 at night when I finish the reports and get up from my desk. As soon as I open the door to my office, I hear muffled laughter from the movie room and smile. We usually play light comedies on movie nights, because dramas upset some patients. I skip dessert after dinner, but the smell of Black Forest cake still lingers in the air, so I head to the kitchen to swipe a piece. As I'm grabbing a plastic-wrapped saucer, I think of Allison again, and reach for another one, then get 2 forks. There's a back staircase to the second floor, and I find total silence when I walk up there. Allison's room is near the end of the hall, and when I get there, I knock on her half-open door and look inside. Hey, you still awake? I ask. She looks over from the chair in the corner, where she's curled up with a book, the lamp on the table next to her casting a soft glow. Thought you might like some of this, I say, walking into the room and setting a saucer on the table. Mind if I sit? Her lips turn up just a touch, and she looks at the end of her bed. I sit down there and peel the plastic wrap back from my cake, taking a bite. Can I ask what you're reading? She looks up, holding my gaze for a couple seconds before lifting the book from her lap to show me the title. Anna Karenina, I nod. Good choice. Allison passed her first 30 days here with good behavior, so she no longer has to wear the blue scrubs of a level 2 patient. She's a level 1 now, but the only perk she seems to be taking advantage of is wearing her own clothes. Tonight she's wearing gray sweatpants cut off just above the knee and a Chicago Bears t-shirt that looks soft and well-worn. I read that in a college lit class. I finished my cake in 3 big bites, so I set my plate next to me on the bed. I was in a fraternity, and I skipped a party we were hosting on a Friday night to read Anna Karenina. Went to the library instead. Never heard the end of it. Usually I was up for a party every Friday night, but there was something about that book. I had to know what happened, you know? She smiles in answer. It's probably how you feel right now, but I'm here keeping you from it. Her smile widens as she meets my eyes. It's the first time I've seen a true spark of happiness in her. So you like classics? I think back to my college lit class. Have you read Tarzan? The shake of her head is almost imperceptible. I feel a surge of satisfaction, but I hold it in. This is the only time Allison has communicated with anyone from Hawthorne in any conscious way. I can tell she's unhappy when she narrows her eyes, and when she's overwhelmed, because she stares out the window. But that's not communication. It's a great story. More than just a Disney movie, I say. Not that the movie wasn't good. And the soundtrack's pretty great, too. I get up from my seat on her bed and pick up my plate. So we both like classic literature. But maybe the Black Forest cake is just my thing. I reach for the plate on the table next to her, arching my brows in question. She reaches out and puts her fingertips on my wrist, gently pushing it away from the plate of cake. We agree on the cake too, then. I think I'm going to go grab another piece before I head home, actually. I walk toward the hallway, turning to face her when I'm in the doorway. Night, Allison. She meets my eyes again, and I get a slight nod. The whole way back to the kitchen, I can't keep the grin from my face, because another small victory just happened.
Chapter 5. Eating the cake means I have to brush my teeth again, but it's worth it. After that, I turn out the lights in my room, get in bed, and switch on my small reading lamp to get in some more Anna Karenina. That interaction with Dr. Delgado almost felt like a conversation. It was nice. I've gotten used to people not even talking to me here because they know they'll be met with silence. The CNA doing night checks just smiles when she peeks inside my room and sees me reading. Before I came here, my pre-bedtime ritual was scrolling through my phone, which I no longer have and no longer care about. I never used to read books. Now they're my lifeline. I make it until almost 11, and then my eyelids get too heavy to continue reading. After sliding my book onto the nightstand, I switch off my reading light and let sleep take over. A deep voice sounds inside my head.
Who killed your sister, Allison? You know who it was, don't you? Tell me. Tell me.
I try to reach into the darkness, but my hands won't move. A sound rumbles in my throat against my will.
Tell me who killed your sister.
The voice is closer now, more insistent. In my dreams, I still talk. I scream and cry and let out everything that haunts me. Though I can't even understand what I'm saying, I know that's what I'm doing now.
You saw her die,
the voice says.
You know what happened. Don't you want the killer to be caught? Only you hold the key, Allison. Tell me who killed your sister.
I try to push the voice away, but I'm weighted down, trapped in a fog I can't even see through. The fog only gets cloudier, and soon I stop trying to find my way out of it. The voice is gone now, and I don't want to find it again. The next day, my breakfast tray has the same 3 things I order every morning. a small dish of oatmeal, a piece of wheat toast, and a cup of coffee. It's like room service at a nice hotel, except the dishes are plastic and I don't have to tip the person who brings it. I sit in my corner chair to eat, reading my book as I nibble on the food and down the coffee. When I shift in my seat, movement outside the window of my room catches my attention. There's a man riding a beautiful black horse across a field. He's leaning down, a hand on the horse's neck. The look on his face is pure elation, his smile warming my heart. Other than my trips down to Dr. Heaton's office, I don't leave my room. But something about the scene outside my window makes me want to. I've been here for more than 6 weeks, but I still don't know much about this place. I put my book down and dress in dark jeans and a gray t-shirt with 3/4 sleeves, then slide into my black ballet flats from my closet. The Hawthorne people did a good job buying me clothes I feel comfortable wearing. When I venture out of my room and walk down the wide, open staircase, no one seems to notice me. There are a few people drawing and coloring at a small round table in the great room. "Good to see you, Allison," a woman in the gray scrubs of a Hawthorne CNA says. Another woman looks up at me from her spot on a leather sofa. "Hey, you're out of your room." She gets up and walks over to me. "Can I just tell you how glad I am to see you? You're the only woman here who's remotely close to my age. I mean, other than Clara McMahon, but she's a sociopath on level 3. She rolls her eyes. "Can't exactly hang out with a sociopath, you know what I mean?" She looks like a teenager, her face fresh and her blonde hair in a loose braid. She's lithe and not much over 5 feet tall. "I'm Morgan Tyler," she says, holding out her hand. I'm a little baffled, but I don't want to be rude, so I shake it. She grins at me. "And you're Allison. I know you don't talk, or can't, and it's totally cool. I mean, I talk enough for both of us." Another grin. "You're wondering how old I am, aren't you? I'm 18. She points past the huge stone fireplace. "I'm gonna snag another one of those blueberry muffins from breakfast. Want to come with me? I can give you the lowdown on this place." Might as well. I'm not doing anything else. I follow Morgan past the fireplace, and she takes my arm like we're old friends. I'm not crazy, by the way. You're probably wondering why I'm here if I'm not crazy. I mean, it's not a secret or anything. No one's story is a secret here. When I was 15, my stepdad raped me. He married my mom for her money and told me we'd be getting to know each other real well. He was a big hunter, you know, so when he was asleep, I took one of his shotguns and blew his dick off. My mouth falls open in shock. Did she just say she... Yeah, I shot him right in the dick. I wasn't trying to kill him, but I did. Not much of a loss to the world, though. Anyway, I was charged as an adult, but my mom hired a fancy attorney who got me a deal where I can be here instead of prison. Temporary insanity, I think they called it. Morgan pushes open a set of double doors, and we walk into a huge kitchen with wood plank floors, marble counters, and wide stainless steel appliances. "I work here," she says, opening a container on the counter and taking out a blueberry muffin with streusel on top. "Want one?" I shake my head slightly. She takes a small bite of the muffin and leads the way out of the kitchen. "Level 1s can have jobs here," she says. "We also get to wear regular clothes instead of scrubs, and we can do outside stuff like horseback riding and fishing. Dr. D takes level 1s camping on weekends. We can have computers, but no internet, so what's the point?" She stops in front of a set of glass double doors. "You want to go outside?" I shrug, and she pushes the doors open. The air is cool and smells lightly of grass. I haven't felt the sun on my skin in a long time, and I soak it in. We sit down on a wood bench, and Morgan resumes talking. "You can get a room on the first level if you ask. All the level 1s can. Level 2s wear blue scrubs, like you had on when you first got here. Most of them are functionally mentally ill. They're not going to hurt themselves or anyone else, you know? Paranoia, anxiety, that kind of thing. Crazy Town is on level 3. Those are your psychopaths, schizophrenics, OCDs. There are even a couple murderers up there. My alarm must register on my face because she laughs and says, "Don't worry, the security is tight up there. It takes a retinal scan and a password to open the doors." I take a deep breath, and it hits me that though this place looks like a high-end lodge, it's a mental hospital. It's a beautiful one, but the patients have the same illnesses and challenges as those at any other facility. I have to watch my back. Though I've been looking out the window of my room for nearly 50 days now, the view is still breathtaking. I think it's because now I'm not just looking, but also feeling the spring air on my cheeks, and hearing the sway of the grass and the songs of the birds. Hawthorne Hill overlooks a huge open field that spans all the way around one side of the lodge. That side is where the stables are. People are riding horses in and out of a fenced pasture there. The other side of the lodge has several cabins spread out near the edge of a forest. Past the open field, there's a mountain range. It's spectacular and unlike anything I've ever seen. "You should come down for dinner tonight," Morgan says. "I'll save you a seat. I don't work in the kitchen at dinner time." I nod, and she lights up with happiness. "Hey, can I ask you something? Can you talk?" She lowers her brows conspiratorially. "You could, raise your hand if you can. We could come up with a code that only we understand." I just smile. I can't help liking Morgan, but I'm not looking to become an 18-year-old girl's BFF. "Maybe later," she says, shrugging. "At least you're coming to dinner tonight." She looks over at the stables and then turns back to me. "Also, the room next to mine is open. On the first floor, I'm just saying." A CNA walks out the double doors we came out of. "There you are, Morgan. You coming down to the stables to go riding?" "Oh, yeah." She gets up and gestures for me to follow. "Come on, Allison, you can ride too." I shake my head. She shrugs and follows the CNA to the stone path that leads down the hill to the stables. Curiosity leads me to walk around to the side of the lodge, where the cabins are. The log homes are built in the same style as the lodge, but on a miniature scale. Each one has a small front porch with a rocking chair on it. The row of cabins stretches far back. There are at least 20 of them. This must be where Hawthorne's staffers live. I keep walking around the lodge, and in the back, I see a long shed and another larger log home. There's a huge deck and a stone patio with lawn furniture and a grill. Tall trees shade everything. On my way to the patio, I pass a small patch of freshly sown dirt. It looks like someone's tiny garden, with neat rows ready to be seeded. And then I see my personal paradise, a rope hammock hanging between 2 trees. It's a perfect spot to read. I can picture myself spending all afternoon right there, the breeze blowing through my hair as I'm cocooned in the hammock. I walk back into the main building through a set of open double doors on the deck, and then make my way up to the room. When I go to pick up the Anna Karenina hardback from the nightstand, I'm stopped by the sight of something on my bed. As soon as I get close enough to see what it is, I smile and pick it up. It's a paperback of Tarzan. When I open it up, I see the name Daniel Delgado scrawled on the inside cover. I take both books to the hammock. Looks like I found my next read.
Chapter 6. Brody Tillman is straight up terrified of our new patient. I knew it from the moment he asked 2 male CNAs to restrain Chad Larimore before we even walked into his room. I told the CNAs to hold off and wait outside the door. Brody arched his brows, mumbled, "It's your funeral," then walked in a good 4 feet behind me. "Morning, Chad," I say in a neutral tone. His low laugh and the wild look in his eyes are meant to intimidate me, but I walk up to his bedside. Those nurses sent you in here because they're scared I'm gonna hurt 'em, he says, sounding satisfied. I already warned you once, and I'm told you threatened to rape the nurse who came to see you this morning. It's so good when they fight me. He grabs his dick beneath the bedsheet and starts stroking himself. From now on, Dr. Tillman and I will see to your medical needs. I step aside so Chad can see Tillman. Well, aren't you cute? Chad says to Tillman. Come say hi. I don't bite hard. Tillman's feet are rooted to the floor. Chad laughs again, still jerking off under the covers. Only male CNAs will assist you, I continue. You can't threaten our staff, Chad. You'll be sedated and restrained the next time it happens. Tillman's effort at sounding tough falls short. Restrained? Sounds kinky, Chad says, his tone gleeful. Like all of Level 3, Chad's room is bare bones. The staff at Hawthorne has learned over the years that psychotic and suicidal patients can make use of unexpected things to hurt themselves or others. Chad only has a bed and a styrofoam pitcher of water on the floor. All the windows at Hawthorne are made of extra thick, shatterproof glass, but on Level 3, the blinds were installed between two panes of thick glass, and they're opened and closed from outside the room. Chad has very little stimulus, but he's rejected every opportunity to fix that, shredding the pages of a book and eating it a couple days ago. You won't wear me out, Chad, I say, holding his gaze. I was in the Army for a few years, and after that, I went into emergency medicine. I've dealt with all kinds of people. People who skin others for fun? He quickly jumps to his knees on the mattress, his wiry frame on full display since he refuses to wear his gown. I shrug. Probably. I was stationed in Afghanistan for a while, and there were some sick fuckers over there. He steps out of bed and stalks toward Tillman. Tillman shifts his eyes to me and then back to Chad. You think I only like to fuck unwilling women? His laugh is more like a maniacal shriek. Tillman puts his hands out in front of him. Get your ass back to the bed, Chad, I say. Not yet. He moves closer to Tillman, who looks disgusted and scared at the same time. Tillman needs to assert himself, but he's clearly not going to. I approach them, and Chad stops moving. You'd be scared of me if you weren't so big, he says to me. You think your size keeps you safe from me, but you're wrong. Take your best shot, then. He stares at me for a couple seconds before saying, Not now. Not ever. You'll learn that life is better here when you cooperate. Chad grabs his dick and starts jerking off again. How the guy can get hard right now, while arguing with me, I have no idea. He really does have deep psychological problems. His file was one of the most disturbing I've ever read. I hear there's a hot mute woman in the house, he says. I would love to get my hands on her. I stiffen. The thought of him even being in the same room with Allison makes me sick. And who the fuck is telling Chad about our other patients? I'm laying down a new rule at the next staff meeting. Not that I should even need to. You're in an isolation wing, I say, forcing neutrality I don't feel into my tone. So that's not happening. Mute, he muses. I would miss the screaming an awful lot, but then, the things I could do without anyone knowing if I could just get her alone. He laughs gleefully, and a muscle in my jaw twitches. I could wipe that smile off his face so easily, but I can't let my feelings show. I remind myself that he'll never even see Allison, let alone get his hands on her. We'll leave you to it, I say. Terrence will be delivering your meal trays today, and Dr. Tillman will check on you tomorrow. Tillman hightails it for the door, probably not wanting to turn his back on Chad without my cover. The door buzzes as it locks behind us, and I point to a small conference room down the hall. "Let's go," I say to Tillman. As soon as we're inside and the door's closed, he lets out a deep exhale. "Man, that guy is fucking off." "You do realize you work at a mental hospital?" "Yeah, but he's missing something. There's no remorse." "That's often the case with psychopaths." He sits down in a chair on the other side of the small conference table, but I just stand behind one, holding on to the top of it. "Psychopaths can also be charming and are often intelligent," I continue. "What's with the lesson? I know all this." Tillman glares at me. "Do you? Because you just gave him the upper hand in there. He knows you're scared of him, and he'll play on that." Tillman scoffs. "I wasn't scared." "Don't bullshit me. It's Saturday, and I was supposed to leave for a hike with patients 10 minutes ago." "The guy's a murderer, Daniel." "Yeah, but he's not going to murder you with a bed. Bring Terrence in there with you if you need to, but don't let Chad control the dynamic of your interactions with him. If it gets out of control, you leave. But don't ever leave with your tail between your legs." "He needs to be sedated and restrained, man. That guy is dangerous." My muscles tense as I take a deep breath and look down at the floor, trying to keep my cool. Everyone here is potentially dangerous, Brody, either to themselves or others. Anyone with a mental illness that requires inpatient treatment needs to be treated with respect and compassion, but also with no doubt about who's in charge. You. There's an edge of bitterness in its tone. When it's you and a patient, you're in charge. Until you correct me later. I shake my head and glare at him. Always in private. Hawthorne has a philosophy about patient care. It's my job to see that we all stay on the same page about it. His nod is reluctant. It just seems like it's your philosophy. Yeah, I happen to agree with Hawthorne's approach to patient care. Why do you think I'm here? I figured it was because you couldn't get hired anywhere else after your license was suspended. The air changes in the room, turning thick with tension. I let Tillman's words hang in the air for a few seconds before responding. So you looked up my licensing records. He gives me a smug look. Is the Hawthorne administration aware you lost your license? Yes. They are aware my license was suspended. I was in good standing when I came here. I can see the disappointment on his face. He was probably saving that information and planning to deliver a knockout punch with it, but it was more like a weak slap. My job here is secure, Tillman. And yours will be too, if you'll take my constructive criticism and learn from it. I'm talking to you now because I don't want shit to go bad. The sooner you assert yourself with a patient like Chad, the less likely he is to try anything with you. And if you're not comfortable treating him, let me know and I'll do it. No, I'm fine. I nod. Okay. I have to go. I don't wait for him to leave the conference room with me. Instead, I wave at the nurse sitting at the level 3 station, and she buzzes me through the door to the elevator. There, I bend down for the retinal scanner and enter my code into a keypad. I'm pissed at Tillman. Guys like him just love being assholes. There are days I think it would be less trouble to handle all work myself than to constantly have to oversee and correct him. The elevator takes me down to the first floor, and as soon as the doors open, a small group of patients standing in the great room turns toward me. There's Dr. D, Leonard says. 3 patients are gathered for a morning hike. We only have 7 level 1 patients right now, and the others must be doing something else. Leonard is standing with Morgan and Tim, all 3 of them wearing pants, sweatshirts, and hiking boots. "Be right there," I say to them. "I need to grab my backpack from my office." I jog down the hallway and walk through my open office doorway. 2 books on the outer corner of the desk catch my attention. I pick up the top one, which is my old copy of Tarzan that I left for Allison. When I open the cover, there's a small cream-colored piece of paper with neat handwriting. "I had no idea this story was so romantic. Other than the end, that is. Jane should have chosen Tarzan. But other than my broken heart, I loved it." After setting the note back inside the cover, I close the book and return it to my bookshelf. I feel a strong urge to write a note back to her. If that's how she wants to communicate with me, I'll take it. But I don't want to push my luck. I pick up the other book from my desk. She left a hardback of Pride and Prejudice from Hawthorne Hill's library beneath Tarzan. Looks like it's my turn to read a book she recommends. I tuck the book into the worn leather messenger bag I carry between my home and office every day, and then pick up my backpack from behind my desk. It has first aid supplies, my utility knife, climbing ropes, water, and a few other emergency supplies. I have to be prepared for anything when I take patients into the woods. I head back to the great room and tell the hikers we're heading out. We're on our way out the door when I see someone running down the open stairway out of the corner of my eye. "Hey, you made it!" Morgan says with a squeal. It's Allison, dressed in jeans and a thin black hoodie. She's wearing a Cubs baseball hat, her dark ponytail pulled through the hole in the back of it. When she looks at me, there's a question in her eyes. Her cheeks are flushed pink from the run down the stairs, and I find myself just looking at her for a couple seconds. I've never seen a patient as anything but a patient. But right now, I'm just looking at a pretty woman. A very pretty woman. You want to join us?" I finally manage. Her lips curve up slightly into a smile. "Let's go," Tim says from behind me. "We were supposed to leave 18 minutes ago." He's a middle-aged guy with OCD, but with the help of a strict routine, he's pretty functional. "Sorry about that, Tim," I say. "Let's go, guys." Leonard leads us down the stone path that takes us to the staff cabins, and then another 100 yards to the edge of the woods. "Everyone has to stay together," I remind them. "And there's nothing but woods for 100 miles, so don't try to run. I'll catch you if you do, and you'll get bumped back to level 2. I tell Leonard to keep leading so I can stay in the middle of the group. Tim's behind him, and Morgan and Allison are behind me. Morgan's talking up a storm, as usual. Sometimes I wish she'd take a breath once in a while, but I can't help liking her. Any teenage girl who would shoot her piece of shit stepfather in the junk has guts, and I admire that. The forest cover quickly becomes dense, and the terrain gets a little less even. I've done this walk dozens of times now, and I know intuitively where the path starts to get rocky. I thought I understood mental illness before I came to Hawthorne, but I only knew it in a clinical sense. At this luxurious lodge in the middle of nowhere, I've seen patients thrive with an approach that combines traditional medicine with the outdoors. Hiking is therapeutic for many of them. Hell, it's therapeutic for me. Out here, there's no pressure or worry. This forest reminds me that inner peace is possible. I've had to hike and climb for days or weeks on end to find that peace sometimes, but it's always waiting for me. "I've missed the sound of that creek," Leonard says from the front of the line. The sound of rippling water starts faintly, but grows stronger as we get closer. Finally, I can hear it over Morgan's chatter about eye makeup. "Cross the rocks, Doc?" Leonard calls back to me. Yep. Be careful. The creek is about 10 feet wide here, and we cross it by stepping on a series of large rocks I put in the water. I'm planning to build a bridge over the creek this summer, but for now, the rocks are the only way to keep our boots dry. Leonard is spry for his age, and he hops from rock to rock easily. Tim goes slower, counting each rock as he steps on it. My legs are so long that the crossing is easy for me. When I get to the other side, I set my backpack on the ground. Morgan has a skeptical expression as she looks at me. She's done this hike many times, but the water is higher than usual today. Easy does it, I say. Just go slowly. Put your arms out for balance if you need to. She takes a deep breath and practically runs across the rocks, her toes barely touching them. Damn. To be 18 years old again. Your turn, she says to Allison. Allison goes slowly, putting her arms out and stepping on each rock with both feet before moving on. The final leap is the biggest, and her eyes meet mine right before she sets off. I can see she's going to fall a little short and land in the water, so I grab her in midair and set her feet on the ground. My big hands span almost her entire waist, and I leave them there for a beat longer than needed. The warm shine in her soft brown eyes is better than a spoken thank you. Leonard is pointing something out to Tim and Morgan, so Allison and I have a moment of silent but palpable energy between us. I clear my throat and turn to the others, checking myself. I can't be attracted to a patient, and I sure as hell can't do anything to make it look like I am in front of other patients. For a few seconds there, I lost myself. I'll lead from here, I say to Leonard. You got it, Doc, he says, falling in behind me. For the rest of the hike, I don't even make eye contact with Allison. Whatever happened between us at the creek, I can't let it happen again. There's too much on the line for me to risk crossing any professional line with a patient, even one as beautiful and enigmatic as Allison.
Chapter 7. The grass gets greener and flowers start blooming as May comes to a close and June begins. I find a new normal at Hawthorne, spending my days walking, reading, and horseback riding. The outdoors was never my thing before. I spent nearly all my time in downtown Chicago. I've gotten accustomed to the sweet smell of hay in the horse stable and the fragrance of pine in the woods here. I didn't realize before that the only things I ever smelled outside were car exhaust and the occasional hot dog stand. It's quiet here. When flashbacks overwhelm me, I can always find a secluded spot to work through it on my own. The flashbacks are always worse on the nights I have the dream. It's always the same. That voice probing me about what I know, while I fight to resist it. Though I didn't think I'd ever find a life I wanted to live again, I slowly am. I spend time with Morgan every day, and even signed up to go on a camping trip with Daniel this weekend. I like being around him. We've been exchanging books back and forth for several weeks now. A few days after our first hiking trip, he returned Pride and Prejudice to me with a note tucked into the front cover.
Enjoyed this very much. A woman who's perceptive, whip-smart, funny, and able to admit when she's wrong. I think I'm in love. Try this one next. Daniel.
It was Treasure Island, which I loved. There's something about reading the books he recommends that makes me feel like I know him. Since I don't need medical care, I don't see him much in person. He keeps pretty busy tending to the level 2s and 3s. But Dr. Heaton, I see with annoying regularity. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I have to endure an hour in her office. She's devoted, I'll give her that. Sometimes I feel like her life mission is to hear my voice. It grates on me, though, that she thinks I need to spill my guts and have some cathartic moment with her to feel whole again. I'll never feel whole again. I've accepted that. And I've found people like Morgan and Daniel who seem to like me as I am. I'm walking to Dr. Heaton's small waiting room for a Wednesday appointment now, my mind still on my horseback ride this morning. I've been riding a mare named Pearl, and I've gotten attached to her. Her ears perk up and her tail swishes when she sees me,